This is Tom Dillon, the Lifetime Liberal, and today is Monday, April 24th, 2017. The title of this rant will be House GOP slowly distancing themselves from Mr. Minority. Now, this is important because what it's saying is that the House is basically already looking at 2018. They're looking at the tea leaves, so to speak, and they realize they need to make themselves distinct from Mr. Minority. The biggest example of this is Jason Chaffetz, the head of the House Oversight Committee, who announced last week that basically he was not going to run in 2018. And of course, he has his eyes set on possible other things in 2020, the governorship of Utah, the state that he's from. But the question is why is this happening like this? And so the thing is, Jason Chaffetz has been a butt boy for Mr. Minority. He's been big as the head of the House Oversight Committee investigating Benghazi, just reaming Hillary for all of that stuff. He doesn't want to do his job now for Mr. Minority. And that is to go after Mr. Minority, especially in terms of the emoluments clauses in the Constitution. And so when it was against Hillary, he was big on it. Now that he has to go against Mr. Minority, he's not big on it at all. But basically, he went back a couple weeks ago to his home area, and he got reamed with people at the town halls, and he saw what was happening. And what was happening is that there's a good chance that he's going to have a very strong, qualified candidate to go against him in the Democratic Party. If he goes after Mr. Minority and the House Oversight Committee, then there might be a chance that he would get he might get righted by someone going against him who is even further right than himself. And it would also expose him in both ways, that if he had to go further right, he'd have to go further right. And that if he was going against someone on the left, again, he'd have to bring about his bona fides, which would be hard in 2018 because he'd have to expose himself for what his positions really are, which would hurt him probably in 2020 if he went to go against the governorship. So he's seeing what's going on right here. And basically, at the end of last week, Elijah Cummings, who is the minority head of the House Oversight Committee, and Jason Chaffetz put out a letter to the minority administration basically saying, we need to see details about every single thing that you are doing in reference to money that your businesses have brought in from foreign governments, meaning his hotels where people have stayed, and how you are basically breaking this up and then donating that to charity. So the thing is, Jason, so whether or not he really fulfills all of it, we don't really know. We can see that he's already starting to show that he wants to hold Mr. Minority accountable to all this. And the thing is, this is what the Republicans and the GOP are seeing right now, long before the 2018 election, because Mr. Minority will not be on the ballot, but every Democrat that's running against a House Republican in a red district, that's who they'll be running against. And the Republicans see that right now. And how much of that will affect them right now, starting to distance themselves from Mr. Minority. And also, I believe that there's a 20-some, I think that the Democrats have to win 20-some to get the House majority again. However, at the same time, there are some 20-some Republicans who will be up for re-election in 2018 who are in a red district that won in their red district, but they're also in a red district that Hillary won. So this could really come to haunt them because, again, if they go too much against Mr. Minority, they could get primaried and someone can go to the right. But the other part that might be very difficult is that they're going to get a very strong Democratic challenger, and they need to show some short and curlies so that they can say, hey, I'm against Mr. Minority when it comes to global climate change. I'm against Mr. Minority in terms of building that wall, which is not popular. I'm against Mr. Minority when it comes to raising the minimum wage. I'm against Mr. Minority when it comes to taxing the rich. So there could be a lot of things that they need to distance themselves from Mr. Minority, and they need to start doing it right away. This will be very significant as time goes on, as Mr. Minority, as we can see right now, he wants to build a wall. He wants money for that in the funding, so that if the government shuts down, he will get the blame. Let's see if the Republicans, especially in the House, will distance themselves from Mr. Minority in terms of the wall. So that's it. House is starting to distance themselves. How far do they need to go to make their bona fides so that they can get reelected in red districts that were won by Hillary in 2018? So the 2018 election is already starting right now in the House.